Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So, I have done it once again. I have made yet another variant of not just Spright, but Spright Synchro specifically. I'm pretty quickly liking the idea of slotting in the Assault Synchron, the Shinobi Necro, the Caligo Claw Crow, maybe a couple of tunings, and the Synchro package here with Cupid Pitch, Chaos Ruler, and Baronne de Fleur. I've really been liking slotting this into pretty much any deck that puts out 2 level 2 monsters very easily, specifically 2 level 2 non-tuners. And I realized recently that, oh, the Live Twins do that. When you normal or special them and activate their effects, you don't actually get locked into anything, and you get to not only put out your initial level 2 body, but another one as well. The only part of the Live Twin engine, or I guess more like the Evil Twin engine, that actually locks you are the effects of Ki-Sikil and Lil-la. Let's say you can only special summon Fiends from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, but that's actually totally fine because much like other Spright variants, Spright Synchro variants I should say, basically our game plan here is we're going to do our Synchro plays, get Baronne out on the field, then we do our Spright plays when we're 2 locked, and then after that, then we can do our Evil Twin plays here. So we're not locked out of doing anything the deck normally wants to do. We're just adding a little bit of punch to the end board in the form of the Baronne de Fleur and sometimes Chaos Angel as well. We'll go ahead and see a game where we turbo out both these on turn 1 here. One thing I will say about the extra deck, and those of you who are more familiar with Live Twin and play it consistently probably noticed this, I only have one of each Ki-Sikil and Lil-la and then the one Trouble Sunny in the extra deck right now. In order to make the Evil Twin engine actually more standalone playable, I do need to fit in a second Ki-Sikil into the extra deck. Right now I am already playing 2 of each Gigantic and Spright Elf, so in theory one of those could be dropped. But I will say that when it comes to playing the grind game, having 2 of each of those is really good. Having 2 of each of those is also really good in a meta where Katshira is not like everywhere, but it's not uncommon either. But at the same time, like I said, you know, and we're going to see actually an example, maybe even 2 of this in games coming up. But with only 1 of each of the Evil Twins in the extra deck, you can't really do plays, because you can summon the Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and then Lil-la, but in order to get the Lil-la in the graveyard to summon it back to pop a card on your opponent's turn, you have to have another rank 2 Fiend to go into, which is often the second copy of Ki-Sikil. Well, it would have to be the second copy of Ki-Sikil so that you can actually bring the Lil-la back, so we are desperately hurting for a second copy of the Ki-Sikil in the extra deck, and if you have any ideas of what to drop to put it in, definitely let me know in the comment section below. I'm thinking it's got to be Chaos Angel or the second Gigantic or Elf. I'm thinking I'm probably going to drop one of the 2 Elves at the end of the day, but I'd really like not to do that, and again, I'm just going to end up thinking about it a little bit more. But even with the extra deck the way it is now, the deck can still put out some insane boards that, again, we're going to see here in a moment. We're definitely cutting down way on the Bystial engine, as opposed to how much we usually included in other iterations, but that's mostly just due to a lack of space in the main deck. You might be thinking, you know, why, you know, the tunings, you know, we usually have those for Assault Synchrons. I don't know about usually, but enough of the time we do. But why so many searches for the Evil Twin cards? Do we really need 3 Sunny Snitch and a secret password? Oh, I think that's actually one of the major strengths of playing the Live Twins in a deck like this. It's twofold, right? Actually, there's 3 kind of reasons why I like having so many of these spell searchers for Live Twins. The first is simply that, you know, getting consistent access to our 2 level 2 monsters is just, you know, very important, and I value it very highly in a deck like this. Especially when, you know, our main combo is Assault Synchron plus 2 level 2s. I kind of want to fit in a 3rd tuning just to make getting Assault Synchron that much more consistent. When it comes to like actually doing the Synchro part of the combo, this might be the most consistent Spright Synchro variant I've played so far. Reason number 2 that I like having multiple of the spell searchers here is that it's not even bad to open, like let's say you open Lil-la plus a Sunny Snitch. That's actually not even bad, because what you could do is you can use Sunny Snitch to still just grab the Ki-Sikil Frost, right? Then you normal summon Lil-la, grab a Ki-Sikil from deck, and then you can special Ki-Sikil Frost from your hand by its own effect. So it's not like the multiple searches are redundant. Again, if you open a twin plus one of the spell searchers, it still actually nets you an extra level 2 body on board, which is huge. That's actually pretty huge for a combo deck like this. And the third reason, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to try out Live Twins and why I suspect they might actually be one of the better Synchro, or it's kind of engines for a Spright Synchro deck, is that they're really good top decks when it comes to actually like trying to draw one card out with like regular Spright Synchro. The deck doesn't have any. The deck has no one card plays except for Spright Starter, which as a follow-up one card play is usually pretty mid. With this deck, however, if you're in a situation where we have to top deck into and out, we have a lot of those. We can top deck any one of the twins or one of the spell cards that searches one of the twins. So, yeah, again, I suspect that this might actually end up being one of the better engines to pair with this whole Spright Synchro package here. Of course, not just the Spright monsters, but again, also like the Caligo Crow and Shinobi Necro with the Cupid Pitch and Chaos Ruler into the Baronne there. Alright, I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about as far as the list goes. We'll go ahead and break it down card by card and then look at some gameplay. So, we are on 3 Maxx, 1 Caligo Crow, 1 Shinobi Necro. Ooh, excuse me. We have 3 Live Twin Ki-Sikil, 3 Live Twin Lil-la, 1 Live Twin Ki-Sikil Frost, 2 Spright Blue, 2 Spright Jet, 1 Spright Red, 1 Spright Carrot, 3 Assault Synchron, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Bystial Magnamhut, 1 Bystial Druiswarm, 1 Bystial Baldrake, 2 Tuning, 1 Secret Password, 3 Live Twins Sunny Snitch, 2 Call by the Grave, 2 Spright Starter, 1 Spright Smashers, and then 2 Infinite Impermanence. That's going to do it for our main deck. For the extra deck, we have 1 Cupid Pitch, 1 Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, 1 Baronne de Fleur, 1 Chaos Angel, 2 Gigantic Spright, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Evil Twin Ki-Sikil, 1 Evil Twin Lil-la, 2 Spright Elf, 1 Spright Sprind, 1 Knightmare Unicorn, 1 Evil Twins Trouble Sunny, and then 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And before you take a look at the games, one final thing I want to say about the extra deck. We're not playing Avermax, we're playing Knightmare Unicorn and Underworld Goddess as our IP targets because they are both Fiends, and as such can be made even while you're locked into Fiends with the Evil Twins here. So, alright, that's going to do it for the list. Let's see some gameplay. Alright, our first duel is going to be against Adventurer Scareclaw. They're not playing Cashteras, but just good old-fashioned Scareclaw here. So, I wanted to start with this duel to kind of get a feel or show an example of what a sort of average turn 1 combo kind of looks like with a deck like this. So, I'm going to use both the Tuning and the the Sunny Snitch, even though I already opened both Assault Synchron and Lil-la. 1, I want to use the Tuning to see if I can bait out an Ash Blossom, and 2, as mentioned in the profile, and as you can see here, even if you do open Trouble Sunny and you already have a Live Twin, you can still just grab Ki-Sikil Frost, and that actually gets you an extra level 2 body on the board, which, as I mentioned before, is huge in a deck like this. So, I'm going to casually just summon 5 monsters to the field, no big deal, before using Assault Synchron and the Frost to go for the Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch is going to bump its level up to 6, and then sync with the Live Twin Lil-la in order to summon the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Now we're going to, of course, use the Cupid Pitch as well as Chaos Ruler to grab some extra cards in hand. We're definitely less reliant on Caligo Crow resolving, or rather the Cupid Pitch grabbing Caligo Crow in this deck, just because it's a little easier for us to have extra level 2 bodies on the board. But of course, it's always nice to have extra extenders as well. Finding a Spright Blue off of that Excavate will allow us to grab some of the other Spright cards in our engine there. Give a special to Crow and then link it away with the Chaos Sword with some of the Spright Sprind. And you all know what I like to send off the Spright Sprind. It is, of course, the Shinobi Necro. Chaos Ruler gets to summon itself back by banishing the Cupid Pitch and Shinobi Necro, which will, of course, in turn, then also put the Shinobi Necro back on the board, allowing me to sync for 10 and adding the Baronne to our end board there. Now, because I have Assault Synchron in the graveyard, I also get to bring back the Chaos Ruler, and without a whole lot else to really do with it here, I'm just going to go ahead and use it to make the Chaos Angel, but I misplayed. I should have used the Live Twin here, so that way I could have made it using both a light and a dark. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but because I really could have just, yeah, synced with the Chaos Ruler, or synced with the Chaos Ruler and the Ki-Sikil, and then use the blue to make the Gigantic. So, a little bit of a misplay on my part, but it's not going to matter too much here. The Spright Elf is still going to keep the Baronne from being able to be targeted, and of course the Chaos Angel does prevent it from being able to be destroyed by battle as well. But so as you can see, now that we've done our Synchro and then Spright plays, at the end of the combo line, you can really just use Elf to grab back one of your live twins, and then from there, start doing your evil twin plays. Although here, we are going to see where not having 2 Ki-Sikil in the extra deck is a little bit of an issue, as we're going to summon Lil-la, bring back Ki-Sikil, and get a draw. And then normally, what you would do here with the second Ki-Sikil is link these 2 off for the second Ki-Sikil, and then from there, during your opponent's turn, that can be used to bring back the Lil-la, and then to pop a card on the opponent's turn. But without that in the extra deck, I kind of just have to pass, but we still have the Baronne, and the Chaos Angel, and the Spright Red, so things should probably still be fine here. I'm going to use Spright Smashers as soon as my opponent summons this Scareclaw Acro, because I have just enough experience with the Scareclaw engine to know that you know, they want to link this off for Lightheart, and also the Scareclaw monsters can only special themselves to zones adjacent to a Scareclaw. So obviously if you remove the Scareclaw, then you know, they're not really able to make plays there. From that point on, we're just going to bring back the Carrot with the Elf to set up another negation, but before we can even manage to do that, the opponent is going to concede. So I wanted to show this game off because, again, it's a pretty typical turn 1 combo line, but it also kind of illustrates the issue I was talking about earlier, where we can't really make evil twin plays if we don't get a second Ki-Sikil in that extra deck. Again, probably just going to end up dropping one of the 2 elves for it, but that kind of remains to be seen. But in any case, that is our first duel. Let's take a look at the next one here. Alright, got a game against Kashtira here. This is specifically going to be like a going second Kashtira deck. It plays a lot of actually like 8-axis stuff. Like it plays some Kaijus, Alpha, Master of Beasts, so on and so forth. So, going to be going first here. No Assault Synchron in this hand, but with Lil-la and Spright Blue, we can definitely still make some pretty solid plays here. That is also kind of why I want to add a 3rd tuning to the main deck, is because with hands like this, you know, they're fine. There's definitely nothing wrong with them, but they're made so much better by the Assault Synchron. It's not even funny, so. Gonna just go for some pretty, well, again, I say typical twin Spright plays, but without that second Ki-Sikil in the extra deck, there's really not many twin plays we can even realistically make. So what I'm going to actually end up doing is kind of just using the twins as link fodders to end on a more generic board, where we set up the Elf, the Masquerena, the Spright Red, and then we're going to use Starter to get Carrot as well, which is not bad. I mean, it's kind of why I was fine testing for so long with only the 1 Ki-Sikil, is because, you know, even if we don't have that, we still get to set up boards like this. So we're going to get Ultimate Slayered here, which is another going second card, and I could not even tell you the last time I got hit with this card. It's got a really cool animation, but for those who are unfamiliar with it, basically they get to send one of their cards from the extra deck to send a corresponding monster of the same type from my field, and it cannot be responded to, so there was no negating that with the Spright Carrot there. That actually is going to be pretty annoying, because now as my opponent goes to move to battle phase, I actually don't want to use like the IP Masquerena and one of my Spright monsters on board and the Spright Blue in my hand just to summon out Knightmare Unicorn to bounce this Watt Draft. Instead, it's going to try to attack directly. I'm going to use Imperm on it. Not because I'm afraid of the damage, but I definitely don't want this effect to resolve where I'm unable to activate cards or effects for the rest of the turn. So I guess my opponent didn't feel like trying to play through the red or the carrot or my back row and decided to just pass. That's fine. That's the optimal move for me. But again, it looks really weird just to let my IP Masquerena go. But again, it would have used up too many resources to bounce the Watt Draft with the Knightmare Unicorn, which is honestly like... It's a lot of the reason why I don't really play Knightmare Unicorn that much anyway. This card, I actually, like, in a lot of decks that want to be summoning it off of IP Masquerena, it just uses up too many resources to summon it and then also get the bounce. It's the discard. The discard really hurts it, especially when we have access to, you know, like the Underworld Goddess for removal. Like, yes, this does use up more resources on board, but... you know, decks that are playing this kind of Spright package are often playing to the board and don't have a lot of cards left over in the hand, and often the cards that we have left over in hand we want to keep, so... Again, it looks really weird that I just let that Watt Draft attack my IP Masquerena, but I think that was actually the best play. Alright, now we get to special the blue in hand, followed up with a Jet. Jet's going to grab Smashers, and From here, it definitely should not be difficult to find lethal at all. What I'm going to do is actually kind of pivot back towards that Evil Twin line, except this time we're going to end up setting up the Trouble Sunny and using that in order to find lethal. Because what we can do is, as you can see, we brought back the Lil-la with the Elf. Now we can link into the Evil Twin Lil-la. And I want to do it in this order specifically because I want the Evil Twin Ki-Sikil to bring back the Evil Twin Lil-la. That way I can pop this White Giraffe and then swing in for lethal, because after we pop the White Giraffe, we get to link the Ki-Sikil and the Lil-la into Trouble Sunny, and Trouble Sunny can tag out back into those linked monsters at any time as a quick effect, including during the battle phase. So now I get to smack for 33, use the Trouble Sunny, tag back into the Evil Twin Link monsters, and that should be a grand total of, I think, 8,100 points of damage, finding more or less exact lethal. Yeah, 8,100 points of damage, so pretty much exact lethal there, but that is one advantage that the Evil Twin engine does have, even if you're only playing one copy of each of the cards, is you can still use it like that to set up some OTK options there. So, cool stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next duel here. Alright, we have yet another Kashtira opponent. This one's going to be more of a pure Kashtira build, not really blending it with any other strategies like you know, adventure or Rorodon stuff or 8-axis type of stuff like we saw our last opponent. Although we didn't really see much from our last opponent in that regard. We literally only saw like the Watch Draft from them. But here my opponent's got an Ash Blossom for the secret password. This is actually one of the few situations where like I don't have another Evil Twin card or Live Twin card in hand, so that does hurt a little bit, but not too badly. I'm going to just go ahead and normal summon the Carrot, special the Jet. Jet's going to grab Starter, and then I'm going to set up the Sprind here. The reason I'm doing that is because I have a Bystial monster in hand, I can actually banish the Shinobi Necro. That is set with Sprind. I get an add-off Magnamhut, and then I get to use the Shinobi Necro to bring itself back, which will allow me to sync for the Chaos Ruler here. Although making the Chaos Ruler without the Cupid Pitch in this particular deck is a little bit weaker than normal, just because we don't have like quite as many Synchro options as we did before, but we do manage to find some amount of plays here off of the Chaos Ruler. I actually, now that I'm thinking about this, that was a total misplay on my part. I just realized how badly I misplayed there. What I should have done is I should have actually added, well, but then if I activate Spright Starter, I can't. I was just thinking about how I could have added one of the Live Twins, and well, I don't have a normal summon either is the problem. Okay, never mind, I didn't misplay. I was thinking about maybe making Chaos Ruler, or not Chaos Ruler, Chaos Angel there, but no, it wouldn't have been viable for multiple reasons. Okay, but that's fine. We can definitely still use this Chaos Ruler as a linked material on our turn here. So in this regard, without opening Assault Synchron, it is just a little bit weird trying to make Chaos Ruler because, as you can see here, we're pretty much just going to end up setting up the Elf IP Red and Carrot board, even though we did end up making a Synchro play here. Which, I mean, again, this is not a bad board to end on, but I think with just a few more options in the extra deck and potentially the main deck as well, we could see ourselves ending on some better turn 1 boards than just this. That does kind of tend to be the issue sometimes when you're putting a lot of different archetypes and strategies into the same deck, is that trying to make them all fit and still have a cohesive end board by the end of it can be a bit of a task sometimes. Alright, opponent's going to summon the Knightmare Unicorn and then Ascend of Thunder. And after that, they try to move straight to battle phase, so I'm going to use IEP to go for the Underworld Goddess here. Again, I don't know, I don't really like Knightmare Unicorn that much. I find that Underworld Goddess just tends to be better. Alright, so they're going to try to use Darkhold to get rid of the Underworld Goddess, but alas, you have to target Underworld Goddess in order to get rid of her. And this Cashier Birth is not going to work either because the Goddess will end up negating that. So this game actually ended up being a nice little showcase of everything Underworld Goddess is capable of. Dodging the removal, negating the birth, as well as, of course, what we all know her for, jump scaring the opponent by stealing their Knightmare Unicorn. So, yeah, my opponent's already at 5,000 thanks to the Ascend of Thunder, so it's a pretty simple matter of just summoning the Chaos Ruler. But even if they weren't that low, I could still have just summoned the Druiswarm from my hand in addition to the Chaos Ruler and Underworld Goddess, and that would have been over 8,000 points of damage. Alright, we have one more game to take a look at. Let's go straight into it here. And our final opponent is going to be on Branded. Interestingly enough, they're on Branded, but they're actually attacking a couple of copies of Kashtira Fenrir, which I don't know if Branded is necessarily the type of deck that wants to be playing Fenrir. That's like I mentioned in one of my more recent videos. If you're going to be teching the Fenrir, you really typically want to be playing it in a deck that can actually make use of it as a material. And Branded can't really fuse it for anything, can't really link it for anything except maybe Vert Anaconda if they run it, so it's like, you know. Alright, so here my opponent's going to Maxx. I'll use the Ash Blossom on it, but I'm actually going to let the Ash Blossom resolve against the Spright Blue, because I don't technically need that to resolve, and I could save the call by for my opponent's turn as well. So I'm just going to overlay into the Gigantic, but Hubris will catch up with me a little bit as they actually have an Imperm for the Gigantic as well. To be fair though, I will say this much, if my blue had resolved, I mean, you know, I guess I would have added Jet, which could have specialed itself while I control the Gigantic, right? Because didn't I normal summon the Jet here? Let me actually go back and look at this. I was kind of talking over the initial play. Yeah, I did normal summon Jet, so with the blue, I would have added Jet, and then I could have made plays by linking the Jet and Gigantic, so maybe using Callback against the Ash Blossom would have been fine, but I don't know. I just kind of thought in the moment that, you know, it wasn't too likely my opponent was going to have too many more plays after that, so they do get to go for a Mirror Jade here, using my Gigantic with the Albaz, which is a little scary, but honestly, my opponent could have done worse, like, you know, had a Branded fusion, so we're not actually looking terrible, even though things might not seem that great here. Actually, my opponent really messed up by, well, not really messed up. When they activated the Mirror Jade in response to the Ki-Sikil Frost effect, that's actually literally exactly what I wanted to happen, because then I can chain the Smashers without having fear of the Mirror Jade resolving first and then kind of nullifying the Smashers, but it also makes sense why they did that as soon as I normal summoned a level 2 monster, because it's really easy for the other card in my hand to be a Spright, and then, of course, they'll have wished they had used the Mirror Jade effect then. So, I don't think this was a misplay. I spoke a little bit too soon on that, but the way that they end up playing does walk right into the Spright Smashers here. They're actually going to end up chaining the Cartesia effect, which doesn't really end up accomplishing a whole lot here. Because the Spright Smashers does not target, I still get to just banish whatever they end up putting out on the board anyway. And because I get to banish the Granguinol before the Chain Link resolves, they actually don't get to use the effect. And I'm also going to use this Call By to hit the Albion, and this is going to put us both in top deck mode. Well, my opponent is going to have a Blazing Cartesia, but this is the kind of situation I was talking about earlier where, you know, this particular variant of Spright Synchro is a lot better poised than others, because the others, you know, I would have to top exactly the one Spright Starter to have some pretty mid plays. But here, I can top deck any Live Twin or any card that searches one, like Sunny Snitch, and that'll be enough to get 2 level 2 monsters on the board, and then in turn have some substantial plays here. So, gotta summon the Lil-la and get the Ki-Sikil, link those off into the Spright Elf. I might even be able to find some, maybe not lethal, but a lot of damage here. Were it not for exactly Called By. Ah! This is really frustrating. My opponent had exactly Called By to stop me from making plays, but that's actually still fine, because what I can do here is on my opponent's turn, I can use the Elf to bring back Jet and then get Starter and then have plays on my next turn that way. But my opponent top deck Starter here too! Ah! Yeah. My opponent actually top decked the exact 2 cards to stop this Elf from making plays and then find lethal here. So, congrats to my opponent. Your top decks were better. I guess they just wanted it more. But I still want to show this game off because even though we end up losing the top deck war, I feel like it still perfectly illustrates why I do think the Live Twins could potentially be the better package for Spright Synchro here. Because, again, were it not for my opponent having exactly Called By plus Saronir, I definitely would have been able to mount a comeback and probably win this duel. But that's going to go ahead and do it for our games. Thank you all so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Let us move now to our outro. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. That means a whole lot to me. Not just personally, but it's also a great way of supporting the channel as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other means, you can of course feel free to comment and or subscribe right here on YouTube. I'm always looking to the comments section. You guys leave some pretty awesome feedback as far as like constructive criticism goes when it comes to deck building, gameplay, channel content, all that stuff. So feel free to leave your opinion down there. I will be sure to take a look at that there. And then subscribing is going to be the best way to get notifications of when these videos drop. That does happen every day, by the way, so if you're looking for daily Master Duel content, you've come to the right place. And there are more places where you can get some daily Master Duel content. If you check out the description below, follow the top link over to my Patreon page. There for just $5 a month, which is as much as you pay for a booster pack. You'll find a lot more value than a pack full of filler over there. We've got some previews for content upcoming here on the channel. We've got some exclusive games that are only posted over on Patreon over there. We've got some Q&As, and then you can also have your name featured in this lovely credit sequence where I thank all of the people who are helping contribute over there on Patreon. It's a huge support to the channel, and it really means a lot as well. So thank you everyone who is donating that is featured here on screen. And again, you know, it's not just a pure donation, you do get some more daily Master Duel content over there just for being a part of the Patreon. But I think that's about all the time that I have for today's video. Once again, I just want to thank you so very much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. Again, it just means a lot, as I do put a decent amount of work into getting these videos out every single day. But that's about all the time that I've got for now, so without further ado, this is Xlex. I'm signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.